Hey everybody, welcome to another Google Hangout, another edition of the Night Owl. And this is Brother John. Welcome. And right now we have in the room, we have Brett Keane, we have Grant, Montgomery, J Dubs, and Michael. Michael, I never, how do you say your last name?
Michael Bathurst.
Michael Bathers. You have a YouTube channel, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, we kind of started off open forum, but we have a couple topics in mind. So, getting in touch with your feminine side. So, be nice to get some females in here, and also the effects of social media. So, there you go. So, as we were saying before we went live,
Go ahead, Brett. Tell them how you like to use Google.
Well, I think that Google Plus is it's terrible. It's horrible. I personally, if you had an option, I'd go with something like Twitter. I do like Facebook, but I do not like the fact that they spam people to death. Every time I get on there, I will never be able to find out the secrets of the universe if my friends ever find them because I'm too busy going through, hey, you want to join me on Farmville or Buttville or Bootyville? I mean, it's just constant spam. It seems like it's more set up for advertisement and for consumers as opposed to us all actually interacting with each other. That's just my view. Go ahead.
well, yeah, you can definitely expect more spam through Facebook because of, especially since it went public. So, they got to make a profit for their shareholders. But I understand, yeah, it's crazy getting all those invites for games and stuff. So I just shut them off when I get them.
Well, if you recall, Brother John, you and we ended up meeting on a completely different site in the first place, Stickam, which had no connection with Google or YouTube whatsoever. So people got connected just fine. We didn't need these obtruse pop-ups and ridiculous stuff and these ugly formatted screens where we're just seeing all kinds of weird stuff. And hey, by the way, I just clipped my fingernails today. Let me tweet that out to everybody, you know? Yeah, I could have done without that.
I hear you. Definitely hear you there.
I think then you're left with the question, though, of who's going to pay for the infrastructure and the server farms and everything else that goes into actually connecting millions of people. I mean, in the end, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's right.
I say personally, I think social media hasn't been good for me personally. I think it's kind of making me indoors person. I'm like more of an indoors person all of a sudden, you know. I don't know if people feel that way, but I used to be like Michael out here. I was out basking in the sun and next to the pool and everything, and now it's like I can't get off the internet. But it has been a positive because I have met Brad on from because of the internet. I met Brother John. I met Grant, Michael, man. So it has been good too.
Yeah, but life's about balance, right? And that's the addictive side of social media for many people is they can't get off the sites, be it Twitter or Facebook. I find females are more drawn to Facebook. I don't know what that's about. You also have to be very careful with Facebook because a lot of people get on there, they have a couple of happy pops, and next thing they're doing, they're complaining about their work or their neighbor, and the next day they're in trouble. So it's the world is very transparent now. It's very easy for your employer or your neighbor or someone who doesn't like you. Um, you know, it's like you said, Brett, that there's a lot of haters out there.
Mhm.
Could you go
Well,
deeper with the?
I think Michael, you're absolutely right about the females using Facebook issue, and I think one of the big reasons is Facebook's been around a long time, and they've actually implemented things that took Google and Twitter and everybody else an extreme long time to do on how to protect yourself, how to, if you have an issue with folks, you can deal with that, and also if you wanted to share a photo or an MP3 or a video or what's going on while you're on the road, that was something you could do right away, is where everybody else had some catching up to do.
It's called. I get it.
Was I heard? Is my mic still on? Hello.
I
You
heard.
rock. You rock. I was just taking it all in. It was like the sun. I was basking in it. You know,
Go deeper.
Yeah.
No, for me, I have some empathy for J Dubs. I call him G Dubs, but that's another world.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna step aside for a second. What happened, Mike?
More
He's
people.
saying some Elton John. Can you feel some love tonight for J Dubs? Let's hear it.
Yes, I was.
Oh, it's gonna start to become a bromance, huh?
We're already there, but okay. Oh, is that the feminine side we're talking about right now?
We're getting in touch. I'm feeling it all over.
All right, let's stay on social media. But with social media, especially with Facebook, I liked it 5 years ago before it became so cluttered. You know, you've got so much information on there now, and it takes forever to load. I wish they'd simplify it. In fact, I enjoy it probably more on my phone than I do on my computer. We should welcome who's ever in the room here.
It's Idol Smasher, aka James. How you doing, man?
Hello, gentlemen. Doing all right. How you guys doing?
We're doing all right.
We're reaching out and touching our feminine sides in here, according to Michael.
Hey, James. What's going on, man?
Hey. Living it, loving it.
He sounds like a rocker.
Just got back from the store. Thought I'd come in and say hi before I go to work.
Sweet.
That's nice to see you, Mr. Smasher.
Hey, Carlton, welcome back. Good to see you again. So maybe we have to define what our feminine side is first.
Most people would say it's nature versus nurture, and a feminine side is more nurture.
The nurturing qualities, yeah. Sensitivity, would you say? Emotions. They tend to be more emotions, right? I heard where they say that the male brain was two-thirds logic, one-third emotion, and the female was the opposite, two-thirds emotion, one-third logic. How true is that?
I think women though are more intuitive than men.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
I think they just with body language they know when you're up to no good. You know, you don't even have to speak a word. They can smell it on you or something when you're up to no good, or you know.
Maybe you're just a bad liar.
You've
been getting caught a lot lately, have you?
No, I don't do anything to get caught, but I have a lot of friends that their wives are very intuitive, and I think it's partly from raising kids.
Mm.
Hey, Armin.
Yeah. How you doing? We got the female perspective here. Oh, and just a disclaimer: I am by no means saying that women are not logical or not smarter. There are plenty of women that are much smarter than I am.
Is that a statement? Is that a statement about?
You should listen to Brother John when he's off here.
I'm just curious. Is that a statement about you, there, Brother John, or is that a statement about women? I couldn't quite tell.
I've come to the conclusion that females are the superior creatures of the universe, and since I came to that conclusion, I know that my life has been heaven and bliss on earth.
Oh yeah, your wife is right behind you with a bat, right?
Yes, she is.
A happy wife is a happy life. You got it.
Was that Dawn laughing in the background?
Yeah, she's laughing.
Since I came to that conclusion as well, Brett, it makes a lot of things easier.
His wife is sitting behind him too.
No, she's not.
No, he's sitting in the room alone. He's definitely saying it as
Now,
it is.
I was going to say, my wife is downstairs and can't hear me, so I can be honest.
We are live. We are live, Carl.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, we're live. Whoops.
No more steak and potatoes for you.
We're not live for long, I can promise you that. I don't think. I tend to think that there's no I think our gender differences are far less than we make them out to be. I think that there's a range of emotive capability, and I think both men and women occupy the entire range. But I do think that people, women physically, gender, sex, female, tend a little bit more maybe in one direction, and men tend, the bell curve is a little bit more the other direction. But I think there are people of both genders that are take up that entire range. So I think there are men that are more intuitive than a lot of women, and I think there are women that are more logical than a lot of men, and everything in between.
I agree with that statement.
There you go.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean as much as if a man had agreed with me about it, but that's okay.
Oh.
Well, I disagree with it.
I'm just trying to get hurt here. That's all. Hey, that's nice. Who's doing some work? Armin, is that? Oh, that's yours. I recognize that room. What's the ladder for? Did you change out the light?
Oh no, that light's always been there. I just moved everything. I moved out the sofa in preparation to paint.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. You're painting. Okay.
So I decided to use this hangout for prepping.
Okay.
All right.
I have to get shit done.
She's always at work, either cooking and now she's painting.
I know it. She's doing all this good stuff. Oh, I hung a sign today. That was the extent of my.
Yeah, well,
Oh no, I finished one of my birdhouses today. Hey, I finished. Well, almost. Finished is sort of an odd word, because it's not really ever finished. But nonetheless, it's the bird can live in it. There you go. Here it is. For all the world to see as I break it before I even get it going here. Right.
Carlton.
What's that?
Carlton.
Yeah.
The other subject we're talking about is the influence of social media. We were talking about Facebook and G+ and Twitter, Instagram.
Huh. Well, I don't know what to say about that.
Well, what is your favorite format of all the ones I just
because I'm here, I have been on not all of them. I've been on some of them. I tried Twitter for a while, a fairly good amount of time. I think Google Plus, even though it may be the least popular in terms of number of users, but I and that's just because I like to talk. So I like real interaction. Doing a tweet at 145 characters or whatever the limit, is severely restrictive.
140.
140, yeah.
140.
Right. And even with some
I just want to say this. We must have picked. I never get more than a couple of viewers on here, and we were at 4 or 5 viewers. So I guess the topic is hitting a button with some about getting in touch with your feminine side. We got a lot of curious people.
I thought it was my bluebird house, man.
Oh, you thought it was your birdhouse?
That was my birdhouse. All right, now check it out. Okay, so we got this blue house. We got nice little brass hinges there. We got a nice little door to open up and clean it out. All right, we got the little base here, slides in, slides out, sits on little shelf mounts, so you can clean that out there when you want to. I'm thinking this is a very nice home.
Cool.
For a nice little bird here. All right, that was my first birdhouse ever. I am not a carpenter. Jesus has nothing to worry about. There's no competition here, but it stayed together. So
Man, this guy, when you pull his string, he just goes and goes and goes like the battery bunny.
I know it. No, I'm not going to paint it. I might linseed oil or something, but no, I'm not going to paint it.
Come on, you got to get in touch with your feminine side, Carlton, and take a nice paint job on there.
Well, my understanding is, and I'm not an expert on bluebirds either, is that painting's actually not good for them because it retains, it absorbs heat, it makes it hotter. So actually, unless you do it a very nice light color, it shouldn't be painted. But
okay.
That's okay. We'll wait and see.
I'm sorry, Brett. You want to say something? I cut you off there. No.
I was saying I'm going to go out for a smoke and everything.
Oh, okay.
Sappho's asking for a link out in the chat.
Yeah, you can give it to him. It's just copy it right above the chat, the URL. I'm surprised he didn't get it. I thought he was in my circles. He should have got. He should be in the circles. Hmm.
Should I just give it out in public in the chat out there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, why don't you write the link down on a piece of paper and stand outside on your corner and let everyone know? Advertise it that way too.
Yeah.
That would be good. Yeah.
Just busting your balls.
Oh man. Get that nice and clean. Who are watching, don't miss any spots.
I'm not too.
Okay.
How about well, I don't know if it has to do with the topic.
What's
I don't know,
that?
maybe
Men-
What you got for us, James?
I don't know if it's easier for me to say to know what part of me would be masculine, because women like multitask better by nature. They seem to be better multitaskers. Men seem to be able to do one thing at a time better than multitasking, and women seem to be able to take on 5 or 6 tasks at once.
I want to go out on a limb here, and all the women are gonna throw rotten tomatoes at me here shortly. And this is a hypothesis, okay, ladies? So I'm not saying it's true. I'm just a hypothesis. I'm wondering if the reason that they're better at multitaskers is because typically the things they are doing do not require any in-depth thinking. In other words, they're all things that can be done at a very...
Oh my
wait,
God.
let me finish this.
Oh
They
my
can, there are things... Shut up. There are
Oh
things
my
that can be done...
God.
No, at a surface level. And so if you... And I mean, men do things... Wait a minute. Men do things that only require that as well. But I think when you're doing things that only require surface level thought, you can handle 2 or 3 or 4 things at the same time. Right. Okay. For example, think about this. If I've got to wash dishes, if I'm washing dishes, this does not require. I don't think anybody's going to tell me that this requires a profound amount of thought. Okay. You can pretty much close your eyes, listen to music, and the dishes you'll wash the dishes. So if you're doing things like that, you can do 2 or 3 things, and you know, because no one of them really requires very much active thought process, right? Whereas if you're doing something that is very thought intensive, you really got to concentrate on what you're doing. It's like when I'm programming, okay? When I'm programming, I can't be doing 2 things at once. I can't be programming and dusting my desk at the same time. It just doesn't work, okay? So I'm just a hypothesis, ladies, but I'm just wondering if in general that's the reason why the multitasking is
You heard it here first. At Brother John's Hangout, women are good for dishes.
Yeah, and housework. Yeah,
I
okay.
did not say that.
Carlton.
Okay, no sound bites allowed here. I did not say that.
Carlton.
What?
Here is one thing that I've witnessed with my daughters and my wife.
Okay.
And this is where they're far more intelligent than I am, and anybody who knows my children know that they are clearly brighter than I'll ever be. But they can all talk at the same time, fully understand each other, and respond without getting, guess what, pissed at each other. They do that. I can't understand a word anybody's saying because I can't focus on more than maybe 1 or 2 people talking at once, and it's so natural, and I swear that's how their mind is linked.
I will bring my ugly hypothesis back to the table and say that maybe
hey, I just turned it into Rob.
Maybe the reason is that when women listen to a conversation, they're absorbing the emotional content of the conversation more than they are trying to run down a particular piece of fact or piece of information, you know, to see where it leads. In other words, it's more about how what's being said is being said and what the underlying currents are, not so much the individual facts that are being spoken. So again, I think that would allow you to process more streams at the same time than it would if I'm listening to you to do fact checking and I've got to go run down in my memory everything that you're saying to make sure that it lines up. That makes it very difficult now to do more than one person at a time.
Carlton.
I'm trying really hard to boost the viewership here.
Carlton.
Go ahead, Mike, and then I'll say something good.
Okay, I feel that you were either in an arranged marriage or you've lived in a third world country most of your life, or you're not very fond of sex. One of the
His wife is Colombian, so that covers
I'm not making a.
I'm telling you right now, if I made that comment you made earlier,
Yep.
it'd be Mr. Hand for a long time.
I'm telling you what, I saw this Google thing today about Saudi Arabia is seriously considering allowing women to use forks. And apparently they haven't in the past because they feel that the imagery of a woman sticking something long and hard in her mouth causes the men to go off on a wild imaginary mental porn movie in their heads when they see this, so they feel it's better for the men if they don't let women use forks. And my kind of thought to that is just like, well, who cares? Really? I mean, I don't need to see a woman putting a fork in her mouth for me to imagine some other use for it. I don't see that there's necessarily a connection there that you're going to solve one problem by creating another.
I'm going to sound pretty liberal here, and I'm going to say women should be able to eat forks, but the forks should have to wear burqas.
Yeah, well, there they are. I was thinking maybe we should just give them a spoon, or maybe a chopstick. I don't know if a chopstick would work. Ermine, you're uncharacteristically quiet during my stupidity here tonight.
Oh, because I know it's just stupidity.
Okay, that's true. It is.
Prepping for her painting. But Colton,
can't you do more than one thing at a time?
Colton.
Oh.
But Colton,
That's fighting words.
Colton, you're in touch with your feminine side all the time. When I notice,
I am. I will touch whatever side needs touching. It doesn't matter. It doesn't bother me.
You know why, right? You know why?
Why is that?
Because they say women need to talk like 50,000 words a day, right? Where a man only needs like 10, 20,000.
Is that what it could be? It could be, that might be part of that side. I did read something once that said women on average spend, and I'll probably get the numbers wrong here, but it was something like women on average spend 15 hours a week cleaning the house, maintaining the house, and they said men typically spend, at best 45 minutes to an hour a week, cleaning the house.
Unless he's expecting a woman.
Well, and again, but I think this is like statistics. You can always draw the wrong conclusion. The person who put this there said, well, women obviously do a lot more work at home, and when I see the statistic, I'm like, well, of course, women spend 15 hours doing it, and men spend 1 hour doing it. Men are more efficient at doing it. So we do in 1 hour, but the women require 15 hours to get done. See, we're efficient. We line up the tasks.
You don't
got
believe
them all
any
ordered.
of
We
it.
got our machines here.
Hey, Colton, Colton.
We got our Tim Taylor, power duster.
Hey, Colton.
Colton,
you built the birdhouse, but your wife is building a doghouse right now.
She doesn't have to. We already have several of them I can sleep in. Anyway, guys, I'm just having
make it a home, whether we like it or not.
I'm having fun. I'm having fun.
What did you say there, James?
Women make it a home.
There you go.
Women make it a home. They say natural nesters, but women make babies. They go through more pain than a man will ever go through,
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
We have no reference point. We have no reference point.
You know what? I'm not so sure about that. I've had a few really horrendous kidney stones that lasted more than a week, and it was like being in labor for a freaking week. So I'm not entirely sure men don't have a frame of reference from that every now and then. But
I can see how that would be, yeah. But on average, naturally, women make babies and give birth. So
yeah.
It would be that's why, I think there's no frame of reference for the man. We really can't comprehend that. Lives at once,
As far as I'm concerned, that's the miracle of life. What they do, like we have no reference point whatsoever. I'm sorry, kidney stone doesn't do it.
Actually, I know I would argue with that, but that's okay.
I'll let it go. You argue with anything.
I would argue with anything. You're right. I would. Tonight I will.
Just quickly, James, I don't know if you moved your mic or something. You were coming in a bit low.
Okay. Check 1, 2.
It just sounds deeper.
Change something?
I sound deeper?
Yeah, you do. You sound almost like Barry White. You know.
Yeah,
Ooh,
it sounds like you. It sounds like you've actually you went through puberty.
I dropped.
Came out the other side.
I dropped the third one. Yeah.
He's in touch with his masculine. He's touching his masculine side now.
My masculine side, and it feels so good.
Yeah, still good love.
Oh my.
So, if you had to change anything about yourself, Carlton, so you could be more in tune with being a better husband, what do you think you have to do that?
Wow. Do I get a few minutes to think about that?
Yeah, you chew on that for a bit.
I'll have to chew on that. Yeah, that because nothing immediately comes to mind. So let me think about that.
He wants to make sure he's got to choose his words carefully here.
What would I change to be a better husband? Okay. What would I change to be a better husband?
How about you, Brett?
Staying out of hangouts.
I don't know. Wear Batman outfits.
Touche, Brett.
Yeah.
So more role playing. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Batman, sometimes Superman. Switch it up a little bit. Wife isn't really a Green Lantern fan, so that won't cut it.
You get a cool wife. Or a cruel wife.
Wow, that was super deep now.
I need telepathy.
Yeah?
I need to read her mind. And therefore I could provide and she doesn't have to ask.
Thank you. You know what? I'm stealing that answer. Yeah, if I could read her mind, I'd probably be better at doing some things, you know, because this is a guy thing, right? Guys, if they want something, they say so. If there's a problem, they say so. They just, whatever it is out there. Women say the freaking opposite, or they don't say it at all, and they're like, well.
Did you know?
Didn't know? Yeah, it's like, do you want to eat go out to Italian or Japanese restaurant? I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, so we'll go to Japanese. Oh, what the hell?
Carlton.
Do we want to go to the store or do we not? I don't know. We'll wait till we get closer there. You going home? Is that where you want to go? I said, yeah. Well, I need to get something to eat, so we need to go to the store. I'm like,
Thank you. We just passed it. Yes, thank you. Okay. Well, you could turn around. Okay, yeah.
Well, see, what I'm hearing is that 3 different people have a bunch of different problems. I think that the only thing that correlates between you 3 is that it's the wife. I think that's your problem. You need a different wife.
Was that it? Well, it was. See, tonight we went out to eat, but before we went out to eat, we stopped at the grocery store, and she said, "I just have to get a few things. I just want to go in real quick and get the things, and then we can go to eat." And I'm thinking, in my mind, I heard real quick. So I grabbed the cart, and I'm just pushing. She just needed milk and some eggs, and I'm pushing, I'm going. I'm in line to get out. And she wasn't behind me, and then I turn around, she's gone. I'm like, where'd she go? I'm like, I don't know. So I'm checking out, and there's people behind me, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, she's gonna come running back here. Of course she doesn't. So I've got to, so I'm like, check out. She'll have to go through the line herself. So I pay for the damn thing, go through the line, and then 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, she shows up, and I'm like, and she's upset with me. Well, you rushed me. I said you wanted to go fast. How can I rush you if you want to go fast? This isn't fast when you're taking your time.
Carl.
Oh, now she's there. Yes, Irene.
Real quick does not mean literally.
Real quick. Right, exactly. You don't say what you mean.
Real quick means you just have a couple things to get.
Right. Well, that shouldn't take long, should it?
Well, but you're still looking for sales. You're looking for deals and other things that you could potentially.
You need a deal on a dozen eggs? Pick up the damn box, stick it in the cart. 12 eggs.
Help you out. Real quick means it takes less time than it usually does to go grocery shopping.
Oh, yeah. See, no, women have their own dictionary here.
No, you know what? Men suck at listening.
No, we don't. No, yes, real quick is real quick.
1 day is 1,000 years. Sounds biblical.
If she had said, honey, I've got a few things to get. This is, we should be able to get in and out in less time than usual. That's not the same as real quick. Real quick implies hurry.
Way of saying real quick.
Quick implies hurry. That's what the word in the dictionary, if you look it up, it implies hurried, a hurried state. Therefore, hurrying is the thing that we're supposed to be doing.
Than usual, Carl. You have to learn to speak women.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, I
yeah.
don't. No.
That's the intuitive side I was talking about.
I'm
You
thinking
lack
women need to learn to
intuitive.
speak man. I think that's the key.
No.
You mean
Uh,
they need to learn to speak English?
I can see
Well,
you.
yeah, you
women-
could say it that way too. Thank you.
What would that involve, learning man? Grunting noises?
You don't have to go quite that far, right? But
Well,
you
that's
could be
scratching your
direct.
balls sweat.
Maybe. Well, if they can do that, you might want to consider a different partner. But
I don't know.
You know.
I was pretty unbearable. There's like a 3-month period where I just kept on handing her the dictionary and telling her to pick out the word she wants.
I thank you. Might as well just throw a dart at the board and close your
Does-
eyes.
Does anybody else here think that men need better at listening? You know,
I
less
think we're-
talking, more.
I think we are excellent at listening. I think we are bad at understanding because they're not using the right words.
I took a class in interpersonal communication just to discover the differences between the way men and women communicate, and it turned out to be pretty helpful.
Is this the men are from women are from Venus, men are from Mars, or did I get that backward? Sorry.
No, just standard interpersonal communication in college.
Oh, okay.
And Grant, are you married?
No, not these days. And not because of lack of communication, I find
Not
it.
for lack of trying. Okay, that's good. That's good.
I'm a self-contained unit these days.
Yeah, as long as you're happy, that's great.
And yes, absolutely.
Hey, did I tell you my Big Bang Theory trivia from the other day? Did I already bore you with that?
Yes.
Okay, fine. I don't remember anymore. There's too many hangouts.
I think I'm in too many. I'm listening in and being a part of too many hangouts because my wife tells me sometimes, I try to have a conversation with you. It's not. I feel like I'm in a debate.
Well, you see, the other thing that women do that drives me, okay, here's what drives me nuts. Here's what grinds my gears, right? We can play Peter here. Right? Is this thing about when they want to make a point, please just make the point. I don't need a 45-minute story that dances through the woods, following breadcrumbs until we get to the point. I'm like,
Colin talking?
You see, no, wait a minute. No, well, it is. Okay, but wait a minute. Okay, now, fair enough. That was touche. Okay. But, right, it's like, what you do, make the point, and then if you need to fill it in, the person can tell you what it is they need, where their gaps are, and you can fill them in. But we don't need to fill in all these things in advance and never actually get to the point. And we're like, yeah, I got that. Yeah, I know. Yes, we went to see Aunt Tilly. Yeah, I remember driving. Yeah, yes, right. The kids had to go to the bathroom. Yeah, could we? Yeah. And after an hour, it's like I really didn't like the dress she had on. Like, what? Really? It's like all this. It's like all the story that goes with it has nothing to actually do with where we're going. It's scenery.
I hear you. I have a guy friend that's like that.
Shut up.
And he goes into all these details. I like, it's like what color was his shirt the guy wearing or something. Like you were saying, all these peripherals. I don't need to know it, But basically, you're right. I mean, basically, guys want the headlines, and women, are sharing the details.
Yeah, and I like details. I do, but only if the details somehow significantly add meaning to the point, not if they're just for scenery. Because then you're distracted. Because you're trying to grab onto something while the conversation, and you don't know where it's going. So there's no hooks there. You're just words passing.
Carlton.
Yes, sir.
How long you been married?
Oh, well, with which wife?
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
What do you mean that's what you thought?
That's what I thought. Okay. How many women?
It was not my fault, the first one. I will tell you that. No, it was so between the two. So it would have been 21 years, I think, total.
How long with this one?
7.
7. Okay, so you are kind of this is a newer boat.
Yes.
Right. Like I've been married now for 23 years.
Okay.
And one thing, I have 3 daughters, and trust me, women love drama.
Oh, I know. I have one daughter, and that's all I need. All the drama in the world. And I have one too many sisters. She's the same way.
And you're right about one thing. They like details. And they like to know that they're being listened to and that they're important. and that they are the center of the universe at times.
Yep. See, and sometimes they are, but then there are times that they are not.
Oh my gosh, you guys are absolutely clueless.
See, sometimes I like listening to Ermine, and she's the center of my little Google universe here, and I sit at her feet and just listen to her about any topic at all. And then there are other times I listen to Ermine, and I'm like, what? Wake up! Smell the rose.
I want to hear what she wants to say. Go ahead.
Yes.
Please do.
The best example I've heard for somebody who knew how to make love is that you make love or you kiss the way the other person wants it, as opposed to the way you want it, and you will find the best kisser.
Yeah, but then you're sacrificing your happiness for theirs. That
No,
doesn't
you're
make
not,
you any
because
happier.
what happens is when you learn, and the other person is doing the same, hopefully, that's where you find that middle ground. That's where you find the points that are most happy. And the same thing goes for relationships, same thing goes for lovemaking, dance, anything that is just that connection. And the second that you realize that it's really not all about you, but it's about them, and the second that they realize that it's about them, it's a lot more.
Well, but see now, but isn't that one-sided? Why, for example, not to be sexist, I don't mean to be.
Not
But
one-sided,
why is it?
though,
Why
if
is it?
both people are thinking the same thing and behaving in the
okay.
same manner.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay. I
Yeah,
missed, okay.
interconnectedness, right?
Well, we could try that, Ermine, right? If we both press our lips to the webcam, we could see how this works out.
It's about giving enough of yourself to the other to where you recognize yourself in them. You give so much of yourself to them, and they give so much of their self to you that, at some point you will see them as yourself. That you will become one. That middle ground becomes.
Absolutely.
That's what the bliss is. That's the bliss, though. That's the sweet spot.
Well, I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that. I mean, I can think that, like, for my wife, I've given so much of myself to her that as a result of that, like now, she's correct far more often than she was before, and she's much more like me. I see myself in her more now. It's amazing how that works out.
Entire point. I'm completely. You're on mute, Carl.
Oh my goodness.
This is going to make me sound terrible, but the solution to all these problems is to own everything and not get married.
Well, there's that.
Hey, just live with them. Just live with them for as long as they want to stay.
No, children, man. You gotta have kids. You're worthless to them unless you want children. I think that's the key. Is this a woman that wants to have your babies? Does this woman want to have your babies? Are you ready to get into a contract and raise a family and have a blast doing it? That's what it's about, man. It's about making babies. It's not about your feelings. Feelings.
Whoa.
Feelings. Her feelings matter. Yours don't. End of story. Next step. Do you want to? I think that's what it is. If you look at them and for the sake of children, I bet you $10. They're thinking that.
How many kids do you have?
I'm third one is on the way.
Okay, and you dig being a dad, don't you? It lights you up.
It's certainly better than eating at Wendy's and reading People magazine the rest of my life. It's definitely a lot more fun than than drinking, because that got old after a while, and I kept doing it anyway. It's kind of damaging. Definitely. For me, it just makes life much simpler, and the simpler things are for a man, the better. I think.
I don't know. I don't do that.
Carlton, I got a comment from Fiction Fighter directed towards you.
It took a long time. Okay, what is it?
Well, first of all, she says there's not enough estrogen in this hangout for her. But to you, she said, "Fucking bullshit, Carlton. I could outthink you in a heartbeat."
If it makes her feel better to think that, that's good.
Now, is she trying to get in the hangout, John?
I'm just teasing. I think she knows that. Although I haven't talked to her that much, so I hope she's not serious.
John, is she trying to get in the hangout? I'll bow out and let her in.
Well, let me see.
I'll step out. I'll step out too, because I'm scared.
Well, it said she couldn't listen anymore, so she stopped like 10 minutes ago. But I put a link. I put a link in the in the page there anyway. So.
You guys do realize I'm just pulling everybody's chain, I hope.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not.
You know Otto's wrong, right?
What's that?
You're wrong about what?
He made two statements that were definitely not true. Okay, because you don't have to have children. You don't have to get married. You can have children without getting married.
That's what makes you married.
No, wrong.
Any man understands that. You are married to that woman. If you have her child, that is your child.
You don't have to get married. You're not understanding the point.
That's marriage by nature.
You guys are making two separate points.
Oh.
Yeah.
That are both, in and of themselves, very insightful.
I'll shut up and be incited by yours. Go ahead, man.
Go deeper.
Go deeper, Sappho.
Go deeper.
Go deeper.
Well,
if you start saying I'm gonna get really nervous.
Okay.
I've been listening to what's going on, and technically, yeah, you wouldn't have to. You don't have to get married, but as a man, at least for me, there's a code that if you're going to bring children or life into this world, then you better be there for them, and better be for that woman. So
Hallelujah.
And in that sense, you are married to him because you have to see that even though you don't live with them, you will still have to see that.
I think, and I'll make a serious point here, right? So I can get back a little of my credibility with the universe. Yeah, I think if you're going to have babies with somebody, first of all, why would you want to do it with somebody that you don't like and isn't your best friend to start with? And so if that's the case, then why in the world would you want to leave?
Carlton, how many children do you have?
3.
Air means having a heart attack.
I don't even get the
What you smoking there, Armin?
apparently crack, because I don't understand you.
I just said, all I said was, if you're going to have sex to produce a baby, if that's your goal, why would you want to do that with a woman who you didn't like, who wasn't your best friend in the world anyway? And if she is your best friend, then why in the world would you want to leave? It seems to me that, like kind of like what was being said, like when you have a child, you're married to her anyway. I think, yeah, because I think why would you want to have a child with somebody that you didn't feel that way about? Well, that's different. That's not trying to have a child. That's having sex. There's a difference.
Yeah, but anytime that happens, there's a chance of having a child.
Yes, I understand that. But I said if you're trying. See that word? See, this is where the women miss the key words here. I said if you're trying to have a child.
But how is if you're trying relevant to what
may I shoot some of my little magic?
How is that relevant to what Sappho was saying?
It wasn't. It was relative. It was relative to what the idol was saying.
Relative to Carl.
It was relative to idol.
May I ask a question real quick, if you don't mind me spreading a little magical, logical dust around just a little bit?
All right.
It seems to me, and maybe I've been married for so long I didn't get the memo or something, but if you don't like a woman, why are you even having sex with her in the first place?
That's what I was saying. Thank you. I agree.
I think I'm just going to throw 2 cents into the ring. A lot of times, I don't think it's necessarily that people didn't marry their best friend or weren't, thinking long term, but a lot of times, people just grow apart. They discover different facets of themselves. They evolve. They find different interests, and they grow apart. And for that reason, sometimes I look at marriage as an unnatural state. You make a commitment to stay with somebody no matter what, and that no matter what means the possibility of not even liking them at some point.
Well, I think it gets even worse than that, because I think we had this discussion the other day. I think it's one thing to say that I have an obligation to fulfill a contract or a promise that I made, and I think that's perfectly valid argument. But I think it's not valid at a particular point. It doesn't make any sense to fulfill my obligation if the other person doesn't want me to. So if they release me from the contract because they don't want to be with me either, then it's stupid to just say, well, we're stuck with each other even though we're both perfectly happy to walk away. Then walk away. The paper doesn't have any power. It's the promise only means anything if the other person actually wants you to fulfill your obligation.
It's a different world, though, if you have children.
Well, I agree.
Totally
Yes,
different world.
I agree. It is. I agree.
I'm on the smoking crack wagon here. If you're thinking, once you have kids, your life is surrendered to them.
Well, and here's the question. No, I had a friend of mine. I'll pose the question the way he said it. He grew up in a family where his mother and father did nothing but yell and fight and scream at each other all the time. They hated each other. Okay, and he grew up and when he finally was an adult, he resented that life. He said, "I wish to God my parents would have got a divorce because I hated growing up in a house where all there was hate and venom and yelling and screaming." He said it would have been much better, I think, for me if they had gone their separate ways. Now, so again, I think even with children, there has to be a consideration there that if you're not going to be able to raise them in a home where people love each other and care for each other, are you really doing them a favor by staying together?
Good point.
It is a good point.
I wish I would have gotten that. Life really does change. The surrender. There's a lot. My first marriage was. I don't know. It didn't work for many reasons on my end. I think on both our ends. My marriage now is working beautifully.
But you have a better understanding, right? As you get older, of what you need.
Yes,
in a relationship.
Much better, and I didn't have. I wasn't really a father figure around, so I thought of fatherhood more as a role than I did myself as one. I just didn't feel.
Yeah.
I think deep inside I didn't feel I was up to the task. But I didn't stop being a father. I just didn't have the confidence and the drive, when I learned later on.
But from what I can sense from you, it sounds like you're doing a great job now. So pat yourself on the back and be grateful that you broke the chain. Yeah, you stopped the cycle. Good for you.
Yep. I think with my first wife, we're still very good friends. We still like each other. We like each other's company. We share a lot of common things together still. But we weren't the best people to be living together. There were buttons that just, it's like a Google Hangout. There are some people I just can't be in a Google Hangout with for more than 5 minutes without it going downhill. And I may like them as people, but we don't click. Whereas my current life, we click together, and we're very different people. And I think that's part of the reason. There's a better balance, maybe, than there was before.
I'm going to have to get off of here, guys. I got to go to work.
Uh-oh. Hey, have a great evening. Yeah. Take care.
All right. Good conversation, bud.
Thanks for stopping by, James. You have a great night at work there, man.
My pleasure.
See you tomorrow for tour study, man.
Yes, sir.
Now, John, isn't it funny? This subject we thought wouldn't fly, and look at the passion coming out of people.
I'm telling you, yeah, it's great.
So, and that was off the top of.
Thank you, J Dubs.
Yes. Yeah.
Good topic. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see.
I want to add one last point.
Sure.
Women are poopy faces.
Okay, it is so crystal clear that Cerberus isn't getting any and hasn't gotten any in so long, it's ridiculous.
That's okay, I got it last night.
But before we go on that,
Whatever. Find what it was for Cerberus.
I
love
don't know
it.
who this is. Do I know who this is? No.
We can hear you, Carlton, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm talking to myself. My bad.
We got one, if anybody's listening, we got one spot in the room. There's a link right in there if you want to come on in.
You need me to say something else inflammatory?
I think you met your limit for the night.
All the viewers.
I have no limit in that category. I promise.
You're right, Dan, that you didn't fall over because of Colton, did you?
I'm just tired, you guys. Today was a long day.
Hermine, did you see my new sign?
Oh,
I bought to decorate my little room.
Does you want to see it?
I don't know if can you see it from there? I can't see my camera.
I saw it.
Okay, fine. All right.
You put a post about it.
What's that?
You put a post about it.
Oh yeah, I did. Okay, forgot about that. I'm getting old. I'm getting senile. All right.
So, my, I guess, feminine side only activates, but it blends in with my masculinity side. So, I can't really tell, if I generally have a feminine side. So, that's.
Well, given that I'm
Go ahead, Nadia. Sorry.
given that I'm getting in touch with my feminist. Okay.
I guess Colton was one of the elect. He's off into heaven now.
Did we vote him off the island?
All right, I'm back. Where are we at this point?
His wife must have came in the room.
Right.
Yeah, I felt it was
Carlton
a
had
good
to go
time
to
to
the
go get a.
birdhouse.
I felt like it was a good time to get a smoke. 'Cause it sounded like a couple men in the room were getting ready to throw themselves under the bus. So.
Oh God, they totally. You're so.
Oh,
yeah,
I live under the
can't
bus.
Watch it. I can't watch it. It's too much suffering for me.
I mean, Hermione's gonna hate this. I had an argument this morning with her, and I told her, you stay here, have your fit, write down what you want me to know. I'll be back in 20 minutes.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, living under the bus.
Oh, you're talking about this significant other Casper the Friendly Ghost that you have.
Oh, sure, yeah, Casper.
Oof, she's bringing the heat.
Yeah.
She is.
All right.
Do I need to play the music again?
And a lot of this doesn't really have to do with femininity per se. Just, well, frankly, realizing there's actually another person there who has their own, desires, wants, and so on. Well, given that it's about getting in touch with your feminine side, I may have a different perspective on the issue.
I'm all ears, Nadia, as usual.
Well, the bad news is I don't think that transitioning really aligns with that. I mean, it's kind of already there, but the, kind of outward or similar things are not lined up. So it has less to do with getting in touch with it as it does, I don't know, I think being healed, really. In a number of respects, physically healed.
How about emotionally healed?
I think other people experience some of that. In my case, it's a lot more physical than emotional.
Really?
Okay, so you're wanting to get.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. There's a soul form. Yeah, we could actually do that. If we could paint it.
I mean, I like to say I was born at night, but not last night. So there's a lot of times I listen to you, and I get that there's a physical side, but what I get more than anything is that the emotional side is even stronger. It's even more challenging. So when you tell me it's the opposite, I don't know. I don't really believe you.
I've killed every firekeeper just to get
Okay.
I personally don't think femininity has anything to do with the outward appearance, personally.
I totally agree. I mean, there is an aspect of it. I shouldn't say totally, but, there is an aspect of it.
Yeah, and I guess that's part of why I say that the what has some overt seeming connection to getting in touch with the feminine side doesn't actually have that.
Speaking from the female perspective, I can say that the majority of things I do are more of an emotional tie, and the more positive like I am, I can tell I'm being in my femininity. When I'm being negative, I feel like I'm being more in my rational and masculinity side. And sometimes we do it as women to kid ourselves that everything's fine, because if we tell ourselves, and if we're positive long enough, things will work out, and we kid ourselves sometimes because they don't. But we just stay as women owning our space in a positive one.
Are you basically saying that women are harder on themselves?
I think women
Well, she's taking a dig, and
positive.
no, it's not going over my head.
I think women are more positive than men.
Can I ask a quick question here? Just
And no, it didn't go over my head.
on the whole subject, because I don't really have enough knowledge on this to speak from any kind of real database, but is femininity, what is the base of it on? I mean, is it hormonal, chromosomal, or I mean, what do we...
Emotional.
So it's, okay. Can you expand on that a little bit? I mean, to be feminine, it just means you're more in touch with emotions.
It's more attachment to feelings than it is this logical, like, A equals, A plus B equals C, then, and C plus, or B plus C equals D, blah, 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 then, therefore, blah, blah, blah. That logicalness is traditionally more masculine.
Okay, well, my question would be, what is it about a feminine person that would make them more emotional than logical?
There's a softness, not necessarily to touch, although that's part of it, but there's a softness in the way they speak about themselves and the way they speak about others. What makes it more that we're more emotional than we are rational is because what makes sense to us comes from feelings as opposed to our brain.
Wait, are you making the argument that men don't have emotions and women are irrational?
Not at all. I'm saying that women are more of emotional creatures than their male counterparts. I'm not saying
think we're
totally irrational, and I'm not saying that men aren't emotional.
I think we're both equally the same. I just think we're taught to be predominantly one over the other.
I respectfully disagree.
So you're saying it's more grooming?
I think it cuts along a different line.
Yeah. Well, can you go deeper with the softness part? Are you talking being more in connection with your inner feelings? Is that what you're saying?
That could definitely be part of it. I think it's how we respond to criticism, how we respond to how things occur in our lives, negative and positive. I think there's some people who can just shut it off. I think there's some people who get angry. I think there's some people who get sad and internalize it. But at the end of the day, there's something about the feminine mystique that makes it all right.
Are you currently in a relationship right now?
I'm actually single.
Okay. Is there some underlying maybe issues right now that you're dealing with from past relationships that make you feel this way?
No, why?
Yeah, I don't see that, Michael. I think she's making a valid point.
Okay.
Okay, and I can go and say I believe it cuts in a very different direction. I believe it cuts along the social as opposed to emotional line. The manner of interpersonal relationships and similar, where you can find, for instance, the rather highly rational ice queens who, well, at times are even accused of using that rational approach to their social interaction to manipulate.
And that's not feminine. That's their masculine side coming out.
And you will find also that the masculine expression of corresponding, say, sociopathic affair is rather distinct. It proceeds in areas of dominance and such. Where people are invalidated, intimidated, and so on into, well, conceding. And the approaches of the more feminine instances of the same are, well, perhaps more passive-aggressive than so. I'd be a little bit careful.
I just believe there is a feminine mystique.
Well, it's the title of the book.
But I think it's the truth. It's in the way sometimes that you look at someone, it's different than men. In the way that they look at someone. And let's say
Gloria Steinem.
they're interested, that they're aroused by, intrigued by. There's a certain way that we light it. There's just differences.
Or is it Betty Friedan? Anyway.
Do you guys think that, I mean, because obviously, I mean, going back thousands of years, it's been basically, you know, patriarchal society, that over, say, the last 40, 50 years, that women have become more masculine or desire to be more masculine or have more masculine qualities?
I think we've developed more masculine qualities over time in different decades or centuries or years, absolutely, because it benefited us here.
Well,
that go to the point about, like Seb was saying, about a behavior being socialized?
I don't disagree that there's some of it that is socialized, but I think for the most part that nature comes first, and then social either puts it into bloom or stomps on it.
See, a lot of females now have the same pressures as men in the workplace, and they're now having the same health issues that men are having. You know, they're having strokes and having high blood pressure, and they're not living as long as they did. You know, there's a lot more pressure on women now, I think, than there has been in, say, in the last 25 years. They're living more and more in what, you know, it is deemed to be a man's world, and I don't think it's easy.
And yet, I think I still think women are more resilient. They tend to, even though maybe it's true the lifespans are shortened, but still, it seems to be still longer than a man.
But the shortened lifespans can go to a multitude of things. It could go to the fact that we're eating crappier food, that we're not exercising, that it could be a portion of that we're overworked or stressed out. So we can't look at it in isolation and say it's because we are asked to behave a bit more like men. There's a lot of things going on that are shrinking our lifespan and causing chronic disease.
And I think you can look across the board and see that that's happening, whether it's you know, in the workplace or whatnot. So it'd be hard to do a study on that in a bubble that just involves, you know, specific women targeted in specific workplace arenas.
Yet something like 2/3 of minimum wage earners are women. There's the infamous glass ceiling and pink collar jobs and such. there's
I don't agree with that at all, because the reality of
dear.
it is what I'm seeing is statistically is women are graduating high school at higher rates than men. They're graduating college at higher rates than men, significantly higher now. And they are taking on more and more positions of power. When you look in corporate America, it is absolutely getting more equal. I think there is still the good old boy network, and you may not see women in politics or in STEM-related, science, technology, engineering, and math as strongly, but you are seeing women rise through the ranks of various fields. And I think we're about to have a crisis for our men here coming soon.
I think you're going to see more and more women in politics in the next 10 to 20 years.
Absolutely.
And significant power. I already see the shift.
And what we should be looking at is what's happening to our men, or what will happen in this next decade, or I should say next 20 years to our men, because it's a real problem here in the States. And it's almost as if the pendulum has swung not far enough in some instances and way the heck too far in others. And if there's any women watching that care to rage quit, go ahead now.
Have you noticed in the younger population that men are becoming more feminine?
I think we are doing that to our men. I think we're saying it's not okay to hit, to fight, to wrestle, to do all these things. They're just traditional, like naturally boys. It's not okay to go out there and shoot a gun and blah blah blah, a BB gun is what I'm saying, and play in roughhouse and where a generation ago we told our boys it wasn't okay to cry, and maybe maybe it's not okay to tell our boys that it's not okay to cry. Don't act like a girl or don't be a baby. But it's equally not as okay to tell our boys that they can't do boy things. It's okay to do boy things. It's okay to be a boy.
Could it also be because, in general, the census is it's more and more okay to be feminine, to embrace the gay culture? Things aren't as taboo as they once were, and we're now becoming more and more almost like neutral-based sexual.
I think it's actually a healthy thing to be a neutral-based sexual society, but there was a lot of things that you put inside of there, so there was almost like 3 statements.
I do that a lot.
I don't think it's unreasonable that women take on some male characteristics or that men take on some female, but if we're telling them that who they naturally are is wrong, that in and of itself is wrong. That every little boy who's rambunctious needs to be put on Adderall or Ritalin, that's wrong.
Yes, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the all-fix-all drug, but you know what? They're doing the same thing with adults. You have any form of anxiety, they put you on some form of drugs.
Well, that's true. We are.
Because the problem is that people aren't okay with who they are as a person. They got to change themselves to fit some sort of other nonsense, you know.
Well, that's what society's told us we have to live up to. Right? Again, like you're not okay as who you are. And I'll be the first that's in that field telling people that something that they're doing is not wrong. I mean, I'm a marketer and advertiser by trade. So I prey on, and I like to think I do it for their best, for what's best for them as opposed to what's bad. But I'm still as guilty as anyone else by telling them, maybe that food that they're not eating isn't good for them. I'm not sure how this had to do with marriages and relationships. What was the topic of this hangout again?
It's about men getting in touch with their feminine side.
Okay. Yeah. So I think it's okay for men to get in touch with their feminine side, but I don't want men to stop being men. I love manly men too.
I would say I'm a fan of manly men myself.
But it is okay for boys to cry.
It is okay for boys to cry.
And it is okay for boys to wear bright colors.
It is okay for boys to wear bright colors as long as they match.
I was about to say.
I'm joking.
I don't think you are.
No, I actually...
I'm
not. There has to be a sense of order.
No, I just, like with my daughter, she needs to match. In my mind. In hers, absolutely not. So guess who wins out every time? Not me. She creates her own style.
Well, my thought on the topic of the societal shifts is that they are, in a number of instances, sideways. A lot of it can have parallels drawn with Lee Atwater's famous 1980 statement on the Southern Strategy, where he talked about making it so coded and so abstract that it was all economic policy, and essentially riding on the historical baggage. And in those ways, I would say many of these things persist. But I mean, there are also other pretty clear instances where, things like hiring and, well, actually, any kind of employment discrimination, but especially hiring, has such incredible burdens of proof that they're essentially impossible to establish any claims. The anti-discrimination laws are toothless. People routinely do little experiments where, maybe their name sounds too feminine, so they butch it up somehow, and they start getting calls for jobs and such. And, well, others who change their names see responses to their resumes go down drastically. And vice versa, those who undergo dramatic shifts see their incomes go up and are more easily hired. And it still stands that the brunt of poverty is borne by women, and the fact that happens in the face of better education and better qualification is actually stronger evidence that this kind of discrimination is happening.
I don't know if that discrimination is happening and is equal across the board, because I can tell you right now where the discrimination is happening is with minority women, not white women. So if you
it absolutely is happening.
No, it's not.
Minority women more strongly. You
if you
compare women itself, you get some percentage knocked off. You take minority itself, you get another percentage knocked off. You take minority women, and it's a lot bigger percentage when you put them together.
Compare white women versus white men, not as significant. If you compare Hispanic women versus Hispanic men, not as significant, and black women versus black men. The challenge comes in that some of the lowest income earners are minority women. They're not just your run-of-the-mill Caucasian women. That doesn't hold true across the board. So with that, we know, gosh, I don't want to take this there, but I'm going to go ahead.
This element of structure is understood. It's intersectionality.
So I guess when you look at it, there's not as much discrepancy between the sexes as there are between the races. Between socioeconomic groups, it's even larger, which obviously drives at the nature of the problem, so that I can't really make a point there. But
at the very least, the racial is quite a strong hereditary component. So of course, the class and race association will propagate. The fact that it's a smaller but still quite substantial effect than race is understood.
so is it just me that doesn't want men to start acting too much like women?
I think you're going to find that there's a lot of studies out right now that show that a lot of chemicals are being released into the water supply. Not intentionally, but things that aren't being filtered out through regular water. That is helping increase the femininity of male species in general.
Well, I wouldn't regard it as a desirable outcome to have happen uniformly, but I also don't really feel there's much danger of it. I mean,
You might have a point there.
there'll be a minority that will be effeminate or something like that, and that minority is never going to be, well, 1 out of 20 for sexuality and something like 3 out of 1,000 for gender. So it's like, okay, who cares? The factors that bring it about are not being swung one way or the other by any kind of cultural affairs. You can argue that there are chemicals going around that might change it. Diethylstilbestrol repeatedly had a bad effect along these lines. Trouble is, these chemicals have very little to do with culture. Your cultural standards of rigid gender roles aren't really, or loose ones for that matter, are not influencing the proportions at all. These chemicals have no cultural content or association. And to the extent that you say could say chemically prevent much of these variations, I don't think that's a good idea either. I think some variety is good to have.
What do you guys think? Brother John must be gone or something.
No, I'm sorry. I was trying to look up, and I put a link in the chat trying to look up, find stats on income between minorities and white.
Yeah, you need, well, for the purposes of our discussion, you probably need a two-dimensional one, right? You'll see a larger sort of influence on the racial. You'll see another significant, not as large influence in gender. Yeah. And when you put them together, wow, people get hurt.
How are you, John May? How you doing, man?
Yeah, and to the extent that you're going on, well, trying to imply and such that
John May, you
I
hear
have a
me?
massive personality, of course I do.
Yeah,
Because,
got you, buddy.
you
I
know
just
what?
woke up.
The brain gets
Oh.
affected with whatever exposure to the hormones, just like my eyebrow ridges did that stick out and masculinize my face. So, no, I'm not embarrassed by it.
Hey, John, what's up? Welcome to the room.
Oh, I just had a cat nap.
Oh,
You sleep well? Comfy?
Well, not really. There was no one there to tuck me in. Oh, what's going on here?
John, you see the topic of the topic of discussion today?
No, I don't read shit like that anymore. What's this? Intercall for Hangouts allows participants to hangout by phone. Oh, what's this? Recommended apps, Intercall for Hangouts. What's this shit?
I have no idea what you're even talking about, John.
There's a new app on the fucking Hangout page.
Gosh, what is with your mouth? It's not that serious.
Curses like a sailor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. Thanks for asking.
What is,
Yeah,
well, you've never heard,
I think
you've never heard language like that before? You've never heard language like that before?
I've absolutely heard language like that before, and especially when something was like constituted the need for it. But just a new app. Oh my effing God.
What the? Welcome to the real world. You got to get out more often. I think you've been locked up, haven't you?
In chains and whips.
It sounds like it. It sounds like you've been locked up. And I feel sorry for you.
Well, thank you.
The real world's not a very nice place.
Oh, a guy with emotions. He's feeling sorry for me.
Well, not really. I feel sorry. They just dropped a big bomb on Palestine. They've just bombed a school.
That's something that requires an effing or a, some other.
I would have to question the word school because they're not teaching education there.
Well, they're teaching you how to fucking blow up schools.
John, it sounds like you need to get in touch with your feminine side.
Well, are you trying to tell me that I need a sex change?
No.
No.
Some chromosomal problems? No.
No, I need it for a different reason.
Now,
And I already actually went over that before you joined.
Oh, okay.
John, you're feeling it right. Your head's all to there? You're not feeling delusional or anything?
I've lost half of my mental faculties.
Oh, okay.
You had a stroke?
What is that, like a bit of a wank? Stroke? Is that what you're talking about?
No, it's blood clot that gets stuck in your brain.
John comes in the room, he's going to take us in a whole different direction. Huh, John? John, listen, we're talking about, getting in touch with your feminine side,
I don't think I've got one.
You have one. It's there.
Well, where is it?
It's
Where
very
is it?
deep down inside, we know.
How deep?
Only you know.
Ooh, no, we're not going to play this game, are we? Is this like you know that God exists, and
no.
Is it sort of like going down that path, are we?
Nope.
Nope.
Where's this feminine side of me? I want to know about it.
Or a pantheist, just something like that.
And how come everybody else knows about it and I don't?
The more
Spend time listening.
sensitive side, the more intuitive side.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes.
Well, what about it?
Do you feel like you need to get more in touch with that?
Nah.
No?
Nah. I'll be okay. Now, what happens if I click on this button? Oh. How come you guys don't have it? It's called Intercall for Hangouts.
We do have it.
Oh, you've got it.
Yep.
This is the first time I've seen it.
Because they just.
Okay. I'm learning shit every day. You know that?
Well, that's a good thing.
I know. Now, has Green Souls been in here today?
No, I haven't seen Frank in like a day and a half now, 2 days.
Because I've got a nice video I want him to watch.
It would be good to have him in here because him being a behavioral therapist, it might be good to get his point of view.
Would he be awake still? Do you think someone could
Yeah.
invite him?
Christopher Mowdy, I think it's on the East Coast, but if you can get him in soon, you might be able to have him comment. He is a psychologist who may understand some of the differences in the psychology of gender.
Oh no, it's just a video that, like I got it off YouTube and I thought, Frank would be interested in this sort of shit because he's always sort of like, he wants to be in touch. So, I thought, okay. See, is that my feminine side coming out of me?
There you go.
Okay, all right, there we go.
A little bit there.
See, so I'm caring and sharing. See, because I want to share. I suppose that's how it works. I don't know. Now, what else has been happening?
No, this has been the topic of discussion for the last hour and a half. Kind of winding down, it seems.
I think it's...
We'll see. I sent out an invite to Frank and Christopher, so see if they show up.
I think it's valuable in terms of being able to, understand the rest of humanity. For men to get in touch with their feminine side, I think. Even though it's perhaps not an entirely faithful rendition, it might at least provide some manner of insight. And the better you understand the people you're dealing with, the better you get along.
True. I can honestly say I need to listen more. Be more sensitive to my wife's needs. Guilty as charged. As most men.
Well, that's one major difference in conversational styles noted, is that men actually talk more.
Look, Hermione's been drinking, and she's going on the nod. Oh, there you go. Sleep, little Hermione, no to sleep. When you sleep, you'll go to sleep.
Actually, that brings me to question.
You put a smile.
Is the H silent?
Look at that smile.
I'm sorry?
There you go. No, take your medicine.
I have a weird question. Why is it that nobody with a British or Australian accent can say my name?
I don't know. You invented your name. You made it hard for everybody, so you have
Well, maybe the particular of the H being silent is
I've got a song about it. You want to hear a good song?
What's the right way to say your name?
Okay, hang on. I've got it on computer. Just calm down.
The H.
Hang on.
Say air, like the air you breathe.
Yeah, me.
No, hang on.
Okay, so I guess right.
You nice and warm, are you? Okay. You just stay there. Hang on. Don't move. Hang on.
John, say air.
Air.
Air. Say mean.
Airmain.
There you go.
No, hang on a second. I'm going to crank this music up in a second.
Oh,
Here
God.
we go. Just
No
calm down, calm down. Nighty night. Hang on. Hang on, let me crank it up.
Now, say my name.
Oh, no, not that one.
What
Wrong
are you
one.
doing? I think in a few minutes I'm gonna stop this podcast so we can go. Go ahead. What are you playing there?
Hang on, just calm down.
Say my name.
Oh boy.
What is he doing?
What was that? I wonder.
I don't know.
You're goddamn right.
John, what are you playing?
No, wrong one. Hang on.
Wow, come on.
Calm down, calm down.
Dubs down, man. Dubs down.
What's up, Peter?
No, not that one.
What's the matter, Peter? What do you say?
Whatever he's doing, just thumbs it down.
I think John's out of control. We're gonna have to restrain him soon.
Oh, here we are. Hang on.
John,
Just
do you need to be put in a white padded room with a straight jacket?
I need medication.
We have to put you in purgatory.
I need some medication. Hang on. Oh, here we go. Hang on. Just calm down, all right? Just calm down. I'll play the music.
Right,
Here it goes.
Play the unicorn song.
Yeah, here's some good advice from Cosmo.
One little brain cell inside of my head had an epiphany when I casually said, you can chat to me now if you know how to type this random sequence of letters. You can me and my sexy array of cats with Jesus on. I made them with a crayon. Check out my time for the new.
Yeah, I thought we were here to have a conversation, not listen to music.
God.
But I linked to a interesting post on Tumblr about, when you break up with or when I would break up with a boyfriend I make twice as much money as, or or whatever. It makes them feel insecure, so we write them the breakup note on a $100 bill.
Oh, wow. You know what's been profound, I think, of my life is that I do feel like I've been the exception rather than the rule as it relates to that, and that I've been fortunate enough to have a profession and pick a career, a respectful one at some level. It depends on who you ask, right? A marketer, but that has afforded me to not have to live better than most people, period, regardless of race or sex. So I feel very fortunate.
Well, I thought I was 6 years ago, but then she hit the fan.
Oh, don't knock it. I've definitely had my troughs and my challenges.
And, well, it does raise another question. I mean, even though these kinds of large gaps persist, well, the movement is toward equalization. And in that respect, well, where do the men sit with all this? They feel they're undereducated relative to the generation of women that's coming out with college degrees. They feel, well, falling behind in pay. Beside those who, well, this generation aren't housewives. go on to be doctors and lawyers, and well, out to you.
I don't know. I think it'd suck to be a lawyer right now.
Well, true. But still, it's more money than a factory worker would make.
Yeah, that's true.
Did you invite Rob?
He's still in my circles. I don't have him blocked, but if someone else has him blocked, he won't be able to get in. But
Bob who?
haven't seen him in a few days.
Oh God, let me hurry up and block him. What's his name again? No, seriously, what's his last name?
Oh, you're not going to do that.
Jamar?
Trouble is, I don't know how to spell Beasley.
All this blocking. I don't know.
I have no choice but to block like a lot of people. So.
Well, I don't either, of course, because well, I mean, have you seen the guys come in from countries where there's like heavy gender segregation and then they expose themselves?
Yeah, we
In
don't.
hangout posts?
That's how they find it, yeah.
That's yeah, that's why I have to block out like a lot of them.
Is it this, Rob?
Alright, let me see.
No.
Darn.
Nope.
I never had a problem in this room about people coming in here and exposing themselves.
Yet.
No, I mean.
People exposing themselves? What?
Yeah.
Welcome back, Michael.
Of course, I missed
Like
all the
these,
good stuff.
These men from countries and far off places where they have really bad gender segregation. The women are all like covered up with hijabs and niqabs and tadoris and stuff. Yeah, see us with well, uncovered faces and ankles and hands or whatever, and like expose themselves and like literally start, well, manipulating themselves on.
Yeah, I've heard all that. Well, again,
Yeah.
I haven't had that problem here. I've heard about those, but
They're not too picky. I mean, you can. Well, you know, I guess you can see more what I look like now, but it's still not very impressive. And back when I was still blurry, well, it was even worse. So they're not very picky.
Michael, where were you? Were you explaining? You had to explain stuff to your wife, or what? Michael? Now where'd he go?
Everyone keeps dropping out.
Michael, you there?
File is taking for freaking ever. Oh no, it aired.
No, I think Michael must have stepped away.
So, brother,
John,
is
yeah.
there a topic within this topic?
No, man, I can't think of anything else right now off the top of my head. So, you know what I'll do? I'm going to go off air now. So, and this way I could just leave it open. Whatever. So, for the viewers out there, there should be a link if you want to come in for off-air discussion. More than welcome. There's Sky Daddy. Unless Sky Daddy has something to add to this topic. What's up, man?
I just joined.
I was just about to close the room. You saw the topic of this topic of discussion for today?
Yeah.
Sky Daddy, you just woke up too?
I did. I just woke up and saw you were here.
The addiction, huh? Waking up and the first thing I do is turn the computer on, right?
I see a bunch of beautiful people gathered together, and I'm pulled, I'm drawn, you know?
Thank you. Has your relationship helped you get in touch with your feminine side, Sky Daddy?
I hope so. I hope that every relationship I have with someone that's different than me helps me see a little bit of a different side than I normally do. You know, even like a friendship I have with you, hopefully I get to see something that I normally otherwise wouldn't have.
True. Because we are all connected in one way or another, right? They say sometimes that when we're really angry at someone or despise some kind of flaw in another, that it's like a mirror being held up to us. Maybe there's a small part of us that we don't like, and that's what maybe angers us, as well as the good part as well.
So I guess you already came to a consensus before I woke up, huh?
Yeah, I was actually gonna just stop the live broadcast because we were on the topic for it's about a good 2 hours almost. It's kind of ran its course. We had a couple people in here and they dropped out for now. Grant's coming back. He'll probably come back in a bit. Cerberus is he had to go to work, and he said he'll be back in.
Well, you know, I mean, you don't have to keep the recording going on my behalf. I never have anything important to say anyway.
Okay, I just figured you just came in just when I was going to stop it. So, again, for the viewers out there, there's a link there if you want to come join us. Thanks for listening to the topic about getting in touch with your feminine side. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Come back. Add me and others here to your circles, and rate, comment, subscribe, share the channel, and we will speak to you next time. Namaste.